Or,
Yep. Oh, hello, everybody. We're live. It's another episode of Day After Show. We're here, second day or second show of Fall Tour here. We're talking about Boston Night 2. Neil's here, and we've got Pod Vet at this point, I think. Other Ryan
Second
at
time.
Ponder Education. How's it going, Ryan?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. Love it.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. Neil, how are you doing today?
great. I'm doing great. I'm a little tired. I stayed up late last
Hmm.
night, touring the city of Boston, but
As one
feeling
does.
all right. As one does when Goose is in Boston. Why not? You know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here. I'm very excited. Everyone can see I'm here at Borderland Festival. Very, very excited for tonight's set, but also very excited to talk about last night's show, which was pretty good, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, I'm reserving that kind of judgment because I don't want to be accused of attendance bias.
Is Jive Goose watching? That's the real question.
Is Jive Goose watching?
Well, before we dive into the show, of course, let's talk about the pre-show vibe. Ryan, how was your experience getting into the venue last night, finding your seats? Where were you, and how did you and your son feel before the band went on?
Oh, well, I love the hometown venues. I love going into the city whenever I can. It was actually pretty busy getting into the city. We had Peter Gabriel at the Garden and the Red Sox and Yankees at Fenway. So the traffic was pretty heavy. It took a little bit of time getting down there, but parking's pretty easy down there. It's a very chill vibe, I think, by the Leader Bank Pavilion. We were feeling good. I mean, unfortunately, we couldn't make Wednesday, so this was our only show of the tour until Goose missed. So we were both really pumped, and the vibes were strong. It's a little different when you have the reserve seating everywhere, and you're not used to kind of floating around in the beginning and seeing everybody. But we managed to say hi to a lot of folks, and it was great. The community is strong and only growing stronger, and everybody is just so welcoming to Landon too. So we were so pumped, and the night did not disappoint for sure.
Amazing. Neil, what about you? Night 2 versus night 1. How was your experience getting into the venue and getting to your seats?
Yeah. Well, so I didn't work before the show yesterday, so that was good.
That's a plus.
But yeah, traffic in the city was bananas. It took us almost an hour to get down there from my house, which is normally like a 20-minute drive. And I was almost late to the pod, which I did from downtown, but I made it. Right? We made it work. And so, yeah, after that, I walked over to Row 34, which is a restaurant here in Boston, and had a crazy, crazy good dinner with my cousin, which is awesome. And then we kind of skipped over to the venue and just went right in. It was pretty great.
Amazing. And where were your guys' seats last night? Where'd you end up? I know, Neil, you were not, sadly, dead center on the rail last night.
I was not dead center on the rail with a spotlight on me for like 50% of the show.
As seen on TV.
Oh,
yes,
man.
You were.
That is remarkable. I still haven't gone to look at it yet because I'm just terrified. But when I got into the
You're going to love it.
Night, I read like all the rail people, like, Tamara and Binky and Lucas and all these like, rail rider folks, like they were like, "Oh my God, you were on the rail last night." And I think Binky was saying that, and I was like, "I don't know how you guys do that. I like so self-conscious."
Well, hey, you nailed it. You nailed it. Ryan, where were you guys?
We were section 3. We were third row from the front, right in front of Trevor, and it was a great spot.
Yeah.
The sound was good. It could be hit or miss in that venue depending on literally which way the wind's blowing. But sounded great near us, and it was a great spot. A lot of room to dance.
Amazing. Well, let's dive into the show here. We'll start with you, Ryan. Your thoughts on the first 4 songs of the set. We'll go with here. Dr. Darkness, California Magic, Lead the Way, Lead Up. Take me through it. How are you guys feeling?
Yeah, Darkness, I think, is usually a safe opener. I feel like that'd be the word I'd go with. It kind of gets the band flowing and feeling good, and it was a strong version. I don't know if I'd classify it as anything out of the ordinary there, but always strong. California Magic is, I think, the only one I might have gotten right in my fantasy picks yesterday. It was a rough 2 nights for me on there.
I also only hit one, so it happens.
But I thought that was good. It was on point. Lead the Way was one that I had been chasing for a while. Absolutely adore that song. My 9-year-old daughter is Sadie, so that's her favorite song as well. So I managed to make sure I got a video sent to her as well. But I love Lead the Way. I mean, it just got so blissful there towards the end, and I was just living my best life there. And Landon had his arms up, and it was just a great moment. And Lead Up is one that I had been chasing. It's probably one of my favorite, if not the favorite, new song of theirs that hadn't heard live, and it did not disappoint. I just love Rick's solo in there, and when it picks up at that very end, I mean, I just think it's a quintessential jam indie vibe song, and I think it's going to go down as probably give it a couple of years, it'll be one of their big hits. I think it's just that kind of song for me. But it's started off strong. I think that the first 2 songs, I think it was a little safe, but nothing wrong with that. They were played well, and Lead the Way jam kind of got things rolling, and as we'll talk about after Lead Up, I mean, it really picked up.
Definitely. And yeah, I love to hear, you and Landon having a great time. And I want to say how happy I am that Lead the Way is back in at least semi-regular rotation. This is the 4th version of the year. Thank God. 40 shows without it was far, far too long. So really happy to see that it's back in. Neil, how about you on these first 4 songs?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was pretty songy, a little jukeboxy to start off the show, but you're going to get that. It's a first set. And I do love Dr. Darkness as an opener. That's a great spot for it. California
100%.
Magic, always love it. And I like that, the 1-2 punch thing of just doing 2, songs, I guess. Like no big jams right off the bat at the show. They did it at SPAC. They're doing it here. It's kind of their, not every show thing, but this is a thing that they do, right? And then you get Lead the Way, which at this point is incredibly rare, right? As you just pointed out, and had an awesome jam in it. It always has a really good jam, but that jam last night was just, it was so good.
Yeah.
And I was saying in the moment that it sounded exactly like Cleveland's All I Need. And I haven't gone back to verify, but pretty sure, I like a 23 All I Need opener too. 23% All I Need opener.
Yeah, it definitely.
Alas, you don't always get that.
Definitely had that Cleveland All I Need kind of theme to it. Really, really strong organ work from Peter on that jam. Just an amazing foundation, created a really nice vibe for that one. And, again, Neil, we talk about this all the time. We're waiting for that 20-minute Lead the Way.
Well, that's what I was getting to. It was like last night, I was like, this is it. This is the one. This is
every version feels like the one.
The 20-minute Lead the Way. They're like, here we are. We're finally here. Because it felt like they could have stayed in that space for an extraordinarily long time. But they just didn't, which is fine. It's absolutely fine because the set does pick up later here.
Yeah.
And then they jump into Lead Up, which is just, we say the same things every time we talk about Lead Up. It's an amazing song. It is great. And, the audience was going bananas for a song that's not really released per se. The crowd was really, really into the song last night.
How can you not be? That song is just
it's
awesome.
Well, and it's got kind of the big peaks built into it and stuff. So, I mean, it gets everybody up and jumping and dancing. And but dude, it's awesome.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now we move into the second half of the set. We've got Earthling or Alien, first big jam of the night, and the Empress of Orkanos to close it off. Neil, how are you feeling about those?
Oh, man. That was where it really picked up. When they started playing Earthling, I was joking around, John hates this show. But
you probably still did, even though they played an amazing Earthling.
Yeah, you knew what was coming, right? This was going to be the jam that we were waiting for in the set. It did not disappoint. The place erupted. I mean, folks were already moving because of Lead Up, but I mean, it just exploded during Earthling or Alien. Killer jam in here. I got lost in this jam. It was so much fun. And I don't really have any particular points of the jam or moments in the jam to point out because I was just like so locked in through the whole rest of the set. Really, I mean, it's just was lots of minutes of very good jamming.
Agreed. We had a good friend of the pod, Brian Brinkman, drew a little I Know You Rider kind of vibe during the Earthling, but just lots of triumph there. Just excellent jam. And then Empress was an unbelievable way to close the set out as well.
I do love triumph.
Yeah, lots of
fun. Ryan, I think, is getting hazed right now by people backstage at Borderlands. I want to turn the camera around because it is probably somebody from Goose.
I will not be. Ryan, how are you feeling on these last two songs of the set? Everyone say hi to Nooch.
Hey.
What is up?
Ryan, how are you feeling on Earthling and Empress to close out the set?
Just like Neil was saying, like I got completely like taken to a faraway place there in Earthling early, and I mean I was just in it. I was like the lights were going crazy, the crowd was going crazy. I mean everybody was into it. And that crowd was a little chompy at the beginning. Everybody just got laser focused on the band after a lead up. And then this last stretch, I think that was a turning point for maybe some fans that were new and they saw this 2-song stretch back to back. And they left after that set one, and people around us were just in awe. I mean, that's how strong Earthling and Empress were. I mean, it was just fantastic. And who doesn't love like a whole crowd going like, we've got the love and the rhythm in the show, and everybody's feeling it, during Empress. I mean, it's just a great moment. And it was really just a dynamite way to end that set.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I mean, that moment in Empress, the chorus is always such a triumph, but it was cool. Earthling as well, going big, it had a really, really strong opening to the year with the Cap and other Boston version. And then kind of, got relegated to this 10-minute, funk fest for most of the year. So it's nice to see it, get stretched out past the 20-minute mark again. I would put this one hasty rank a little bit, but second best of the year. I'd say it's the better of the 2 Boston versions, but it's not as good as the Cap.
Definitely.
Personally.
I would go with that. I would go with
that Cap Earthling, I've got a special place in my heart for that one. It's so good. But
it's
I haven't
real good.
To this one yet, so I mean, we'll see how it all shakes out.
Time will tell.
Yeah. So the other interesting thing about this is like Earthling and Empress as a 1-2 punch to end a set is outrageous. When they started playing Empress, I was just like, what the hell? Like it just didn't even like. I mean, awesome set listing there. That's all I have to say about that. But I wasn't expecting that at all. I was expecting probably like I don't know, something that wasn't nearly as much of a jammer to kind of close it out. And that was high energy going into set.
It was awesome. Other good friend of the pod, Brad Solari, texted me during Empress and made a good point. Like, I really like Empress in the first set closing spot because you don't see it there as much. It's usually second set opener, second set closer. And so seeing it earlier in the show, kind of a unique placement. It's popped up there a bunch, but nice to hear it earlier in the show and kind of unexpected. I wasn't expecting to see it that early last night.
Yeah, I like it in the meat of the set. Sorry to cut you off there, Ryan. I'll finish real quick. But like, it's I think in the past it's been like a second set, like pick me up song or like an encore, rager. But I like it in like the meat of the show. It's a good enough song where it can live there and be great. So sorry, Ryan.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I just think that that song and that placement, I think it carries over through a set break. I think it just got everybody amped up, and to me, like the set break flew by because everybody was just in great spirits. Everybody thought that ending of that set was fantastic, and there was a buzz during that break, and I think that's what you want to do with that last song of that first set is do just that.
100%. 100%. Neil, how were you feeling at set break?
Well, last thought before we go, like the cool thing in Empress last night, and I don't know if this was picked up on the stream, but you know how like kind of Peter does the thing with his arms up and gets everybody to like do the jazz hands. So like he was like actually getting the crowd to like do like this, and It was
a little bit of the
hilarious.
wave.
I mean, he was having a time of his life doing it, and I think Rick was like, "Yeah, like enough of that." And
Yeah, he was like, "Let's go."
back
Yeah.
into the song. It was pretty great. So Rick just like totally ruined Peter's spot on that one. But yeah, Set Break was good, man. I went. What did I do at Set Break? I'm trying to remember now. I went and like found some folks. I was excited. I went and found Paige again because she probably really wanted to hear Lead the Way. So I said, I'm really excited for you that you got to see that. And then just hung out and sat down for a while at Set Break to take a rest because we had just been going hard since like 3:00, and so didn't really see many people at Set Break, just relaxed, and yeah, it was nice.
Well, I mean, and what a set too happened after that. Let's dive into that a little bit. Let's start with the first two songs here. All I Need, the LPGOB version, and Thatch. And I would just like to shout out Adam Scheinberg from Songfish for having a built-in thing where, because there are two All I Needs now in the drop-down where I enter the songs on the set list on lgoose.net, it gives me the option for the Goose version of the LPGOB, which I was very worried about the confusion there. So thank you to Songfish and Adam for building that into the site. But I thought that they absolutely crushed the live debut of this song. It sounds great, and there's some jam potential in there that I look forward to seeing. But Ryan, how did you feel about this All I Need? And then talk about Thatch too.
Well, I wasn't as familiar with the lyrical part of that version, so I couldn't really speak to how much they nailed that. But musically, I mean, it was fantastic. I really love it, and I have to go back and re-listen to it. But excited to get the premiere of that. Like you said, that so much potential is there. But I think for the first time playing in front of an audience, they crushed it, and look forward to re-listening. But that Thatch coming up next, wow! I mean, that was something special. I didn't even know where to go after that. That
honestly
kept going, and you started seeing like the ups and downs, and you're like, oh wait, still Thatch. Oh wait, still that. And like, this is fantastic. And it probably another hasty and probably a attendance bias, but probably one of my favorite Thatches that I've heard. I mean, I was just enthralled the entire way through. I mean, it just was captivating to me, and nonstop movement, and the crowd. Thatch is another one that I think is now an automatic get the crowd screaming. And it's another one not on an album, but
it's Thatch. It's
Thatch. It's
you
Thatch.
can't not freak out when Thatch is played because it's Thatch.
But I mean, just a great dancey start to set two, and everybody's moving around, and you just felt good things coming. You felt like the band was just in a great place and vibing and just feeling it, and you knew that rest of the show was going to be killer, and it certainly was.
Neil, your thoughts on Thatch before I go full Peter nerd here?
Yeah, well, so All I Need was great. And so the interesting thing about this venue is that it wasn't loud. It was actually quite quiet, the sound. So I think a lot of people have been talking about like how like chompery it was. And I think it's only because the music wasn't so loud that it was like drowning out people's speaking. And when they played the All I Need, and then, well, actually Thatch that came after, all of that like chatter stopped, and like you could hear a pin drop in spaces. I mean, the crowd was captivated. They were in it, at least near where I was. And Thatch. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this Thatch. There needs to be a word in the English language to describe the feeling you have when you're experiencing a jam, and you're like, this is awesome, and I'm going to talk about this jam a lot for the next year. And so that was like happening last night. I was like, this is a top tier version. And I don't know, like I said, I got to go back and re-listen to this stuff. There's only a handful of Thatches that are over 20 minutes. This is one of them. It's good. It's really, really good. And man, did I have fun in this one. I had to take a little rest after for a minute because I just danced so hard. But,
Makes sense. Makes sense. I think, Peter's really unlocking new things on his Prophet synthesizer, even, 2 shows into the tour. And every successive tour, I feel like, they take some time off the road and Peter like locks himself in a room with the Prophet for a few days at least, and just like, tries to figure out what else he can do with it. And there were some new tones being unlocked last night. He was also using, it sounded like the whirly tone on the Nord, but with some synth layers behind it. A lot of really, really cool stuff happening at Thatch. Got dark for a little while, but I just want to emphasize Peter's textural role in this jam because it was absolutely phenomenal. And I love the kind of unique way that Rick brought us back home there. I felt like that new section that they were kind of diving into could have gone a little longer, but bringing it back from that kind of like that low section instead of reaching a peak and then hitting back into the Thatch ending was a very unique way to approach the song. But I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. Blew me away from the couch last night, like just beyond. And so from there, let's go. Everything Must Go, Feel It Now, Dripfield. Neil, start us off here. Last 3 songs of the second set.
What an amazing chunk of music that is, right? So this is not second set jammers necessarily, although
Everything Must Go is a second set jammer now, okay?
I mean, that is the crazy part is, so I was there with my cousin last night. He doesn't see nearly as many Goose shows as I do. And we were just kind of, this is hilarious, just watching you, Ryan. I turned to him, I was like, this sounds like a ballad, but it's not going to end like a ballad. And he was like, oh yeah. And of course, that is what we got. The last 2 versions of this song have been so ridiculously strong. So I think back to New Jersey when they played at the Shore. I think that was the last version. That was right, yeah. And then the one that they played last night. Yeah, and like I don't know which one's the GOAT. I don't know. We're gonna have to go back and listen to this one because this felt equally as strong as the one that they played in Asbury Park. So I mean, so you get that right. Good jam in there. You get Feel It Now, which is just an incredible song. I say it every time we talk about it. It's such a great second set song. It's perfect in that spot. And then I never would have seen that Dripfield coming. And then we get like a Dripfield to close it out with like fire. There was like fire in this Dripfield. So yeah, I think over the last year, there's been a lot of, Peter tinkering around with like the marimba patch with like the piano layered over it. And it's like haunting and weird and like big drip drums. This was not that. This was just fire. Absolute fire, all the way through. And so like not your usual Dripfield in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think we were talking about it this morning and like Jeff was like, oh yeah, it was like a pretty typical Dripfield. I was like, I don't know. I don't think so. Like I think it was just like,
it was just really hot. Good. Again, more of that incredible vintage vibe now with the variable voice control modification to it. But yeah, just the tone on that thing is just it's been so good.
I mean, he jumped right onto it too, which I think was surprising to me. He usually goes over to the Nord for
piano. Yeah,
and plays the piano on the Nord, or like I was saying, the marimba thing that he does. But straight to the vintage vibe, which I thought was different, and then I think that actually was the intent.
He's been feeling the vibe,
Yeah, just fire. Like let's just do fire. So. I love that Ryan's getting hazed while we're doing this. Members of the band. Great.
Thank you. Ryan, what about you? Your thoughts on Everything Must Go, Feel It Now, Dripfield?
Yeah, I love Everything Must Go. That gets me in my feelings while they're singing it. I love it, and I know where it's going to go. And the jam did not disappoint. I thought it was fantastic. Feel It Now is just so fun. Every time it's just a dance party, and it's just like a quintessential like Peter tune, and just want to move, just want to dance, and it was executed very well. And Dripfield, to me, never disappoints. I mean, the lights, Ben, Jeff, they just crush it every time. I love Dripfield, and I really do think last night's version was a top tier version. I don't know, where that would rank, but I mean, I thought it was very, very good. And ending that the way that they did and heading off to Encore, a lot of exhausted people from that run. I mean, that was a great stretch of music there, and great way to end that set. And that whole second set, top to bottom, it was just so fun.
Yeah, I thought Everything Must Go was the perfect set list call to come after Thatch. You know, it kind of feels like a cool down at the beginning. You get a moment to breathe, enjoy some beautiful songwriting, and then they just dive into this like just driving minor key groove that just goes like foot to the floor. You know, I was listening to the second set on my drive down here this morning, and like I mean, All I Need, Thatch, Everything Must Go. Just incredible driving music. I was punching the roof a little bit, you know, that the Big Lebowski gift. But yeah, it was amazing. Feel It Now is always great. Late second set. And then it's Dripfield. You know, we talked about that a little bit, you know, Peter, Vintage Vibe, etc. And then we get a solid Hot Tea encore, you know, nice close out the 2-night run with a nice little tea, you know, a little bit outside the box, but pretty standard version.
You gotta end Boston with a Boston hot tea party by the harbor. So you gotta toss that in there. So it was a good placement, good fun song. You know, it wasn't Portland, but it was fun as hell. I mean, it was just a great way to end it. Everybody was happy, everybody was dancing, and
always a party.
And you know, I did love the little hints of future big Boston shows there from Peter right beforehand too. So I'm not forgetting that.
Yeah.
Come on, Goose 2024. Let's go.
As Jive Goose would say.
Yes. Encore that shit.
Encore that shit. Exactly, Ryan Leckvold. We needed another Ryan voice in here too. It's not enough, so thanks for
Not
stopping.
enough Ryan.
More Ryans.
Yeah, that was really fun way to close the show. It's like kind of surprising. I put like, for some reason or another in my mind, I put Hot Tea and Empress in the same bucket, and I'm always surprised when they play them at the same show. But you know, there it was, and it was great. And I think, you know, interesting story. Actually, I have a story to tell.
I love stories.
Yeah, no, we haven't talked about this yet, but like this story involves you. So this guy and this girl in front of me. Yes.
Rick says hello.
Amazing. So it happened. So yeah, these two in front of me, I recognized them and I was like, where do I know these people from? And like, they're so familiar to me. And so the story gets more interesting. So in between, you know, in the encore break, I say to the guy, I was like, I know you from somewhere. And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, wait a second, were you at Peach? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, you stood in front of me and Ryan at Peach for like a whole day, basically. That's the craziest thing. And so like we just like kind of started talking, and I was like, oh, wait a second. Like I took some video at the show. I probably have video with like you in it because you were just standing in front of me. So then I flipped through my phone, and of course, there they are on my phone, which is amazing. So like we're talking further, and he's like, hey, you like Eggy? And I was like, yeah.
Do I? I wear a sweatshirt every single day.
Yeah, I was like, I absolutely love Eggy. I listen to him all the time. And he's like, oh, I'm Donnie's older brother. And I was like, oh, and that's kind of why you might look familiar to me too. So that was an amazing thing. So I ended up like sending them the video of them at Peach in front of us, kind of just the tops of their heads, filming the band on the stage. But such a bizarre, small world, right? That I end up behind these people at the Boston show who I was behind at Peach earlier this summer. So it was a pretty neat thing. Nice guy. He's a really nice guy.
Good story.
Yeah.
Anything else to add, Ryan, before we wrap up the episode?
No, you know, I just the more the band grows, I think the more special this gets, and the community keeps building. And you know, it's been amazing finding this band with especially my son, and going through a lot the past 2 years. And now every time we go to a show, it is magic, and it is so much fun, and the people could not be nicer. And I cannot wait to see what's to come for these guys. It's just fantastic, and thank you guys for all that you do for the community, and really appreciate you having me on. another great show, and I can't wait for Goosemas and hope to see everybody there.
Yeah, looking forward to that. But Ryan, thank you so much for being on today. It's been a
Wait,
pleasure.
Ryan, I want to talk for like maybe 15 more minutes.
Oh,
so
okay, that's fine.
You can't go and hang out backstage. So
hey,
maybe like dive into
no
some
one
other
said I
topic.
was doing that. No one said I was doing anything of that sort. Okay.
You look like you really wanted to wrap up this episode. So like I'm just
there are just a
lot
of people in here.
Like a little bit.
Time to wrap
well, thank you. Well, thank you everybody for tuning into this episode of Day After Show. Thank you, Ryan, for being here. I'm very excited because 4 hours at this time, I get to see a Goose show, and I can't wait. 2.5 hour set. A lot can happen, and I'm not going to make any speculation about what might happen because of who is in the vicinity.
But you get Dawes today, sick. You get Goose today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Neil Francis, Tab. Like, I mean,
it's a great weekend.
What an amazing weekend. I hope you have a blast, folks. If you're going to Borderlands, find Ryan. Give him a high five. Maybe
I have a limited amount of Clav tweet stickers. A limited amount. So find me before they're gone.
And I can't believe they're playing Autumn Crossing all the way through tonight. That's going to be fantastic out there.
I'd be okay with it. We'll see what happens.
Request. All right, man.
All right. Well, everybody, have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day. We'll be back here tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, to talk about Goose's set tonight. So here we go. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Day After Show.